Mazuma Boxing back with another video. Alright guys, let's talk about Errol Spence Jr. Now, I made a video previously that's on my channel saying how Kell Brook isn't really considering moving back to welterweight after facing Gennady Golovkin. He seems to be real comfortable at 160, but from what you can see, he didn't really look too big at 160, so I think the perfect weight for him will be junior middleweight, being 154 pounds. After saying that he was struggling 147, it seems like he means it, because even after this loss, he isn't even really considering moving back to 147, like I said. So, with him obviously not, with it seeming like he's not coming down to 147, I think it's safe to assume that he's gonna end up vacating his IBF belt and at welterweight. So Kell Brook is his mandatory for this belt. But now that he is vacating it, he won't be fighting Kell Brook. I mean, this is just an assumption. Like, anything could happen, but this is just like this is just like to just say just in advance when it does happen. This is what you'll most likely expect. With Errol Spence being the number one mandatory, if Kell Brook was to vacate, then Errol Spence would just have to fight for the vacant title against one of the other mandatories that's below him. And looking at this list from the World Boxing Ranking, the person that is below him is Konstantin Ponomarev. Now, he's ranked number 3, of course. And I really don't know too much about this guy. I've heard his name before because I think he was supposed to, Errol Spence was supposed to fight him before, but he ended up turning it down, and he just had to move down the list. Now, Konstantin Ponomarev, he's 24 years old, he's from Russia. Obviously a welterweight, and he is 28-0. So, and within these recent fights, he beat an undefeated fighter named Michael Zuski, and he won by unanimous decision. And that guy was 25-0. And this was January, February, March, April, May. This was May 1st. So, and it was a 10-round bout. So, with that being said, I don't know. I think that would be pretty good just based off of the records. I mean, I don't see anybody impressive on Ponomarev's list, but I mean, it's better than nothing. It's for the belt. So, and Errol Spence has been trying to get that belt for the past several fights now, and I don't know, man. Errol Spence is just a different guy, man. He's just a different beast, and this guy, I don't know. There's nothing really everybody who knows, he really lives up to that nickname, the Truth. That guy is the truth. And just based on Ponomarev's latest opponents and shit, and how he's really, I mean, he's from Russia, so he might not have that much of a buzz over here, but he probably does over there. But I just can't see nobody being Errol Spence that isn't champion. I don't know. He's definitely gonna be the IBF champion. The only person I could see Errol Spence having trouble with would be Kell Brook, the champion. And as you move down further on the list is Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is supposed to be fighting Cotto. I mean, I don't know how that necessarily is going to work, but I heard Lamont Peterson didn't want to fight Errol Spence as well. They said it in an interview leading up to the Bundu fight. He said everybody that was above Bundu, but everybody who was above Bundu had said no. They all turned down the fight. And it won't let me click on this guy's name. It's Jeff Horn. He's ranked number 4 actually. I just skipped over his name. I'll look it up. Box right. Okay. Jeff Horn. So this guy is 14-0 with 9 knockouts. He's ranked 11 in the welterweight division. He's 28. He's from Australia. 14-0, 9 knockouts with 1 draw. So he's undefeated, even though that draw is a blemish on his record. He's supposed to be fighting October 21st, 2016. So that doesn't really doesn't make sense for Errol Spence to fight him later on this year. So he came off of a win off of Randall Bailey. A lot of people know who Randall Bailey is. He used to be a beast back in the day, from what I've heard. But the guy's pretty old. He's 41 years old, and he had been. Hold on, this shit fucking up right now. I apologize, but he had been knocked out 3 times before that, and the guy had 8 losses before he had faced this guy Jeff Horn. But Errol Spence is a pretty big welterweight if you really look at him. The guy says, I remember an Instagram post, he said he walks around at 170 pounds. So that's pretty fucking big for a welterweight, man. The guy should be at least a junior middleweight, to say the least. But yeah, this guy, what the fuck? The guy's 5'9", so he's pretty much the same height. He's 24, 5'8" reach, pretty short arms. Errol Spence has a 6-foot reach, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, Errol Spence just has the advantages over all of these guys. And when you look at the world rankings, the only people that will probably give him work, Lamont Peterson has a pretty good boxing ability. Heard he's a great sparring partner. He gave Floyd Mayweather some good work in sparring, for what I've understood. And Andre Berto's ranked number 10, but Andre Berto is also ranked number 2 in the WBC, and he might be facing Danny Garcia. So none of these fights necessarily make sense, and all these other guys' names, I don't know what this means. If you can't click on their names, I guess that means they're either not available or what. I don't know. But somebody could clarify that for me in the comment section. That'd be great. But the only fights that really make sense for Errol Spence right now is Poundamarev. Lamont, he seems to be in the negotiations. He already beat Bundu. Bradley Skeet, I have no idea who that is. I'm sorry, guys. There's just too many boxers for me to know them all. Bradley Skeet. He's 28. Oh, that's a pretty... Whoa. That caught me off guard. This guy is 24-1. Hasn't been stopped before, similar to Leonard Bundu. And has 11 knockouts. So he's not the biggest power puncher for what we've seen. But he has pretty decent power. Ranked 27 in the world. And ranked number 2 in the United Kingdom. Now, this guy's pretty fucking tall. He's 6'1", which caught me off guard. It's pretty tall for a welterweight. I haven't seen anybody as tall as him in the welterweight division since like fucking Maurice Blocker or some shit like that. Paul Williams type shit. So I really don't know. Like, that guy's pretty tall, but Errol Spence runs through all these guys. I don't give a fuck if I know them or not. It just is what it is, for real, for real. And I'm gonna look up the Poundamarev guy. I've heard of his name, you know what I'm saying? The first name that popped up. Now, he's 30-0, which is pretty cool. 13 knockouts. That's pretty solid. He ranked 23rd, the 23rd in the world on box. This is all according to BoxRec, by the way. Shout out to BoxRec. And this guy is 23, so he's pretty fucking young. Damn, 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. Pretty long reach. He came off of a win against Brad Solomon, and it was a split decision, so that's kind of an iffy bout. And Brad Solomon was 26-0, so he got some momentum going through. And before that, he fought the guy Zuski, you know what I'm saying, 26-0. So this is, I don't know, man. The guy's pretty active from what I've seen. There's no reason for him not to fight Errol Spence Jr. He doesn't have a fight coming up. They might as well, Kell Brook might as well vacate right now, and then they could have Errol Spence fight Poundamarev for the belt, and then Errol Spence could snatch that up real quick and be IBF champion and be amongst all these other champions, Jesse Vargas, Keith Thurman, and Danny Garcia. And that'd be pretty fucking cool. And then we could see like some unification bouts. Keith Thurman seems like he's been real like fucking ghost lately, so I don't know what's going on. Danny Garcia, he fights everybody within. He's fought a lot of guys. A lot of people call him a cherry picker because of the raw soaker shit, but he will fight these guys. All these fighters are fighters. They're not scared of each other, man. It just takes time. Unfortunately, this ain't the UFC where they don't even let fights marinate. They just throw motherfuckers in the ring and shit, which is cool for the fans, but like, at the end of the day, it's not really like business savvy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not business savvy, and they why would they do all that when they can make more money just waiting shit out a little bit? So yeah, man, I'm ready. This is what I think is next for Errol Spence Jr. I don't see why he wouldn't fight Poundamarav unless Poundamarav don't want that work. Other than that, that's most likely what you're gonna see here in the next welterweight fight with Errol Spence Jr. But you let me know what you guys think. You guys probably got more info on it than I do. But until then, this was Zuma Boxing, and we out here.